Baby, I just wanted more.
What the hell? Choking on my magic spell. Don't save me. Don't save me.
What is up, you guys, and welcome back to my channel, my little flock of birds. Oh my goodness, I have missed you guys so much because, you know, I've been away for a while. But if you can't already tell, we're in a new space, and my friend Sean is here. But I'm in a new space because I'm in the process of moving. And as you guys know, there's a movie that's out right now that's very popular. Does anyone want to guess? Yeah. Does anyone want to? Oh my gosh. Does anyone want to guess what it is? I'll give you 3 seconds. Okay, so it's Black Phone, and as you know, that movie was derived from a short story by Stephen King's son. So we're going to review both the movie and the book today, and we're going to cross compare because we got some stuff to talk about. They're very different. As always, I'm going to be, well, I can't say always because I think I only did it once, but new normal, doing my makeup while I talk to you guys.
Period, girl. Get that shit in.
Most of my products will be listed down below. Use the code Raven for 20% off. No, I'm kidding. I don't have that. Don't come for me. I don't.
We're not that big yet.
I don't have that yet. But I just used the Fenty primer. So first off, I want to say, for those who are weary to read the short story, you should be. But not for the reasons that you think. The short story, I'm gonna say this: it does nothing to affect your views of the movie or anything. Like, it's actually not bad. Like, I actually really liked the movie, and I watched the movie before I had read the short story. I went and I saw the movie, and I was like, this is good. So I usually gravitate more towards the books than I do the movies. So as soon as I finished the movie, I was like, you know what? Let me go read the short story. So I used Z Library, and I read the 35-page short story for Black Phone, and I was like, okay. This doesn't feel the same, but okay. Like, going from the movie to the book, it will feel a little shell-shocking because they don't really feel the same at all. They don't read like the same. They're just very different. Like, you can tell that they're about the same thing, but that's about it. This video will contain spoilers, so if you don't want spoilers for Black Phone, don't look at this video.
Tap out, bro. Like...
I'm so sick of you. Yeah, but don't look at this video because I don't want anyone in my comments saying, you spoiled the movie. I warned you. Okay, so not gonna lie to you, I like the movie more than the book.
Ooh.
Going completely against my normal morals of liking the book more. But no, I think it's because the movie is the expanded version of the book. I know normally it's the opposite way around, but the movie gives you so much more detail than the book does, or the short story does. I should stop saying book because that's going to confuse people. But it gives so much more detail than the short story does, because the short story is very much so like any other short story that's not super well written. It can feel rushed. So it just felt very quick, and I was like, okay. Going from having so much detail to not really having much detail at all from going from the movie to the book. Not the book. Going from the movie to the book, it can feel very bad. It can feel very bad because it's like, okay, like I was expecting all this information and I don't even get the backstory. So for everyone wondering, everyone who does not already know, if you are going into Black Phone expecting to get to know the reason why the grabber does what he does, don't read either, because neither one of those will tell you. Like, the movie and the book are not made to tell you why the grabber grabs kids, why the grabber does what he does. It's made to more focus on Finney and really nothing outside of him and his sister. So if you want to know more about if you want to know more about the grabber, you're gonna be disappointed. I'm not gonna say don't waste your time, but just don't come in with the expectation that you're gonna learn about the grabber. It's just not gonna be that. It's not.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You'll learn a good amount about like Finney and his family. Like, you learn everything pretty much about them and like their mother situation, their familiar situation, which dang, their dad was rough in the very rough in the movie. Interesting. Felt bad for those kids, both him and his sister who had psychic powers that she couldn't really like control, but ended up helping her with her brother, so good for her. But the whole reason that I originally wanted to read the short stories is because I was very interested in how the other kids got taken. Like, okay, well, we saw Finney. How did the other kids pretty much get grabbed by the grabber? Were they as easily manipulated? In the movie, you pretty much see each of the ghosts that appear to Finney. You see them walk up to the van, or the van approach them, but you never learn like what was said, the exchange that was had. You don't learn anything about that. So I was like, I want to know pretty much how did each of them get grabbed, because all the kids, they seem super smart. It doesn't seem like they would fall for something. No offense to Finney, but no, it doesn't seem like Robin was gonna fall for something like Finney did. Like Finney fell for the worst thing ever. But then again, I'm trying to keep in mind this is the 70s. You know, everyone knows everyone. Cool. And people talk or whatever. But first of all, you look strange and you're approaching me strange. I don't care what time it is. Like, no.
Like, it's just pick them groceries up yourself. Like.
It's like, yeah, I don't need to get close to you. Like, it's no helping those eggs, baby. You might as well leave them there.
Right.
But anywho, I was very confused as to how the other kids got captured, because I just don't believe that they're dumb enough to like get so close, especially Robin, just because he gave off like, I'm very weary of strangers. So I just don't see him approaching the grabber. And also seeing how Finney almost bested the grabber, and Robin stronger than Finney, there's no way Robin couldn't have taken the grabber. So realistically, I was just like, okay, so what exchange happened? So I went into the short story trying to be like, okay, what happened with all the other boys? You know, I would have been interested in that. But the short story, unfortunately, did not even really go into detail about many of the other boys. And it really didn't even have them in it. It was mostly just focused on Finney's time there. I think he heard like one or two voices. One voice. So
supposedly, spoilers, gross.
Okay, well, anyway, he heard one person's voice. In the movie, we hear him hear 5 people. So it's like, you would have done better if you had way more people talking to him versus one person, which is like, okay.
Yeah, like,
I get it. It's like, I get it. But the book was good in the sense of getting to find out pretty much just where all the ideas came from. Like, you pretty much find out, okay, when he does this and the grabber is this section of the grabber's real name is this. Pretty much all we find out about the grabber is his real name, which I was like, oh, thank you for telling me his real name. Like, I totally wanted to know that his name was Al. I could care less what his name is. Why is he grabbing kids? Never tells you. That was some wasted energy. Because you could have very much been focused on the fact that we know nothing about this man. Like, he could be a pervert. He could be doing this because he has some childhood trauma. There's a whole bunch of theories online. But we don't really know much about any of those theories for a specific reason. Okay, I totally forgot to tell you guys, but I am using the Masquerade Mini by Juvia's, the palette.
Ooh.
Okay, but no, I totally, as far as the book goes, short story, Raven, short story. As far as the short story goes, there was so much things that could have gone more into it, like detail wise, because the thing is, I just wanted more detail. Like, I just wanted to know more about more about pretty much like the more significant things. Like, okay, him drinking toilet water, that was an interesting thing to picture, but besides that, what did we learn? What did we learn from the book that the movie didn't already show us and do it better?
Ooh.
Yeah, because my thing is, I watched the movie and I was like, dang, I'm really curious as to find out like where this came from, because this movie is amazing. Just to go and look where it came from and be disappointed. And that's where I have to give a lot of whole credit to the people who produced and directed it, because wow, y'all had to do a lot of work. Like, no shade, but it just turned out so well. Like, to see what it came from to what it ended up being is actually amazing. And like, you guys transformed this story into something amazing. And I was really hoping that they got more into the grabber's story, but then after, like, I watched the movie and I was like, I read some reviews. It's like, okay, they're not going to really talk about the grabber, so here are some theories that we have. And I was like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to like it if they don't tell me anything about the villain of the story. Ignore that, because I totally went in thinking one thing and came out and was like, you know what? I didn't even need the story of the grabber with all that was going on there, because there's so much happening that it's like, you're never bored. Like, okay, you don't know much about the grabber, but it's the little things that they do show you where it's like, you know what? I think I know him already just based off this. And it's like, that's what a good movie does. The short story, however, I just wanted more. like give me more. And it didn't. I was let down. I was let down. Now I'm using the Morphe X Bonnie Gregg palette, and I'm super excited. But all in all, I just think there is a time and a place for certain stories. I think my neighbors are having sex, but I heard squeaking.
Is that okay? Maybe it's the chair.
Okay, it's the chair.
Maybe it's the chair, yes.
I'm saying, okay. No, but it was, I'm sorry. I was caught all the way off guard and was like,
screaming.
Anyway, there was very much so a time and a place for this book or short story, and it would have been so much better had it just given that much more detail. Like, we didn't need you to come out here and have the most amazing short story ever And my thing is, the reason I'm not judging him super hard because he didn't expect it to turn into a movie. And so for the same reason that I can't judge the book super hard because he didn't know it was going to be turned into a movie, if you didn't know it was going to be turned into a movie, it should have been that much better because you didn't know that someone else was going to come along and pretty much have to expand on all the detail that you left out. But you left out a lot of detail, and the detail that you did end up leaving out was stuff that was like important to the plot, or like important to creating a plot, or creating like an actual interesting story. So the book, or the short story, Raven, why do you keep saying book? You really want this to be a book, don't you, baby? You really want this to be a book. Like, okay. The book, unfortunately, I'm going to have to rate it a 4 out of 10.
Fair.
4 out of 10. I'm sorry, but 4 out of 10. Like I wanted so much for it because I came from the movie and I was expecting greatness because the movie was greatness, but it just didn't compare in any way because it didn't have a lot of parts where it was like, okay, I find this interesting, or I could get stuck on this part and like, you know, pretty much analyze this part, connect it to the other characters, connect it to being a good book or a good short story, like pretty much make it interesting. And I was like, I wanted more. Like, I have to put myself in the reverse shoes. If I had read that short story and then they were like, okay, we're making a movie about it, I don't think that I would have wanted to see the movie.
Oof.
I just don't. Like, that's not how it would have worked. I don't think that I would have wanted to see the movie because the book pretty much left nothing to be desired in the worst way possible. Like, at the end of the book, I pretty much just felt like, okay, well, according to this, I feel like I got my closure, just because it doesn't really allow you to draw much personal connection to the main character. It's like, okay, we get it. You know, X, Y, and Z about him. This is why you should feel bad for him. You know, like him because of this. But I have to keep in mind it's a short story. But when I think of short stories that like held me, and I think, okay, Edgar Allan Poe, he's not really comparable to many people just because what he can do with a short story, not many people can do, which is why not many people should write short stories.
Period.
But when I think, okay, Edward Allan Poe was able to do this with Cask of Amontillado. I'm thinking, I forget the title of it, but it's literally my favorite one. Was it Black Cat? Maybe it was Black Cat, where the body was under the floorboards, or
Oh yeah.
yeah, maybe, I don't know, I forget which one that was, but I think what he did, and I'm like, greatness. And I know that not everyone can do it, which is why we're here. why this review is being made, because their very expectations were not met. But I just wanted it to be better. Like, I genuinely just wanted so much more for the book that it was willing to give to itself, which is the sad part.
Yes, girl. Finish that makeup up.
Okay. But, I mean, looking at the two and comparing them, out of 10, the movie is a solid 8.5. And literally the only reason it had points off was because The Grabber had a story that was not as developed. It wasn't as there as I wanted it to be. But even without that, there's so much detail put into the cinematography of it, put into how detailed each mask was based off his mood. And it seemed like the grabber has some sort of sixth sense. I don't care what anyone says. He knew what those kids were going to say before they even spoke. Like, crazy. And how all these kids were pretty much made out of thin air, because we see now that they didn't get the kids being this way or that way from the original book. So had to have got it from somewhere. So the directors and the producers who helped pretty much make the kids' stories come to life, I really champion them, because I felt like each kid had a really specific personality. And if any of those kids were to answer the phone, it'd be like, okay, I can pinpoint which one of you is which. Because they, like, to be dead kids, like, they were distinctive. Like, very, like, overly distinctive. Like, there was no way you could confuse Robin with Bruce. No way that you could confuse the tough kid with Robin. No way that you could confuse Billy with the tough kid. Like, they're completely different. And all made in the same universe. NYX lip pencil. Guys, personally, I just feel like when there's more room to do extra stuff with your plot in a short story, if you're an author, if you're a writer out there, go the extra mile. Because what you're not realizing is, think about your short story as if you're writing this, and any moment, any point in time after you write it, it could potentially become a movie. Think of it like that. And when you think of it like that, it'll challenge you to just go the little bit of an extra mile to be like, okay, let me add this detail. So yeah, I'm gonna stick to my rating. The fact that the short story is a 4 out of 10. The movie, however, like I said, 8.5, because realizing just how much work they did and the acting was superb, because y'all know I'm an actress. The acting was superb. The movie just makes you want to be in the story. Like, it makes you want to be like, you know what? Tell those dumb kids to do this, because I promise, like, I watched... Close your makeup, guys. Okay, no, but I watched the movie with my boyfriend, and I was looking at it like, Fitty, run quicker. Why didn't you run up to one of the doors? Like, are you dumb? like you're sitting here pretty much waiting for him to catch up to you. Why are you waiting on the person who kidnapped you to get behind you until you duck into the bushes? Like, what is wrong with you? I was looking at him like, if you don't run up to one of these people's doors, this is supposed to be the 70s where people can talk to people. I was not a fan of that. I was looking at him like, so you can approach a black van. You can approach a black van by yourself with a stranger, but when it comes down to saving your life because you've been kidnapped by said stranger, you refuse to approach any of the doors in your surrounding neighborhood. Wait for him to catch up with you and tackle you to the ground before you say, help, 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 when you could have just ran to their door. Any of the doors. You could have, he was chasing you in a car. You could have literally just run. Come on, baby. Run into the bushes and he can't chase you in the car. He literally skirt right up next to you and said, Finny, hopped out the car. Like, you were dumb. Should have run into the bushes when he was still in the car. Right. Like, what is wrong with, okay. That's how you know the movie's good, because I'm arguing with the imaginary characters. But that has been my video for today, guys. You know, a little black phone inspired music. Music. Raven. Makeup?
Per is giving though on the makeup. It's really giving.
Thank you. I most definitely said black phone inspired music when I meant black phone inspired makeup. Did not do my whole face because I'm trying to give my regular face a rest, but I still put on some primer for you guys. And and then I still put on eye stuff and a lip because I feel like the lip pulls it together. If you know, you know. But Black Phone movie hit, Black Phone short story, it's a miss. So I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I promise my next video will be coming sooner rather than later. Hopefully Raven don't lie to them again. I will see you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.